somewhere. I don't know where, but anyway, he loves it.
Oh, he said he's in an island.
Yeah, he's on an island somewhere.
On an island.
Apparently he's pretty much supporting a whole community with with his house and his girlfriends and everything. So yeah.
Awesome. He's probably in the southern part of the Philippines.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I'm from the northern part.
Right. Okay. Now I am making you co-host now. There you go.
All right, perfect.
All right, nice.
We just need to wait for them then.
Yep, they should be here any minute now.
I think people will start coming in, so I'll just be in the background, okay?
Okay, no worries. Here we go. Welcome back, Marty. Salwa, welcome back. Oops, sorry, she's connecting to audio now. Welcome, Jerry. Who is that? Oops. Everyone's moving around the screen very, very quickly as you come on in. So welcome, Vicky, Jerry, Twee, Jody, welcome back. Jeanette as well. Patty, who have I missed? Richard's coming in now. Twee, did I say that already? Someone on an Apple iPad, welcome to you as well. All right. Okay. Yeah, it takes a little bit longer for you to get in these days, but it's good to see that you are all managing that okay. All right. So excellent. Okay. Here we go. Doris, have you had enough sleep?
Not quite.
Okay, you are the super champion at the moment, right? All of those classes that you're doing. So yeah, for those of you just coming on, Doris was doing a class. Oh, do you mind if I share this?
Oh, no, please okay. Go ahead.
Doris was doing a class with me, her time, 2 a.m. right, this morning. So I'm most impressed. All right, I've put her down as a super fan. Oh, Doris, if you're speaking, you were muted.
Yeah, either that or a slight, some kind of mental disease.
No. I'm looking at it as an investment in your health. So I think we can look at it that way. Let's be positive. So yeah, that's great.
That sounds better.
All right, it's great that you've made it back. And yeah, Felice, so thanks for the comment. Yeah, I think you might have been impressed, hopefully. Welcome, Janet. Welcome back, Alma, JJ, Katie, Ellie, Laverne. All right, welcome to you all. And Richard, I think you were coming in before when I said welcome. I think you're connecting to audio. All right, we've still got some people coming in now. All right, lovely to see those of you with your cameras on. Also, lovely to see you just with your names there. That's perfect. Right, Sherry, you in now? All right. I am going to share my slides. So for those of you who are new to this, you can, tongue-tied, you can get to know a little bit about me. Right, so here we go. This is it. Now, this is hopefully the class that you have signed up for. This is called Core and Stretch. It's about waking up and moving your body. And even if it's the end of your day, it's still sort of waking up the movements of your body. We're focusing a lot in this class on our sort of belly area. We hopefully will be feeling it around there, but we're going to try and move the entire body. Now, I'm going to do what I would call like simple moves. They're simple, but they may not be easy. And I really like to stress to everyone doing the moves that you are the most important person and the expert on your own body. Right? So if something doesn't feel okay for you, stop, change it, move it a different way, do what's best for you. Right? I'm here to give you suggestions, and that's pretty much it. So everybody on the call will be doing possibly something slightly different, and that's perfect. That's what we're looking for. A little bit about me, for those of you who haven't met me yet, my name's Natalie. There's two of us here in Melbourne, Australia, as in two Natalies. I've been teaching some form of movement since 2001, and I'm one of those why people. I love to learn about the body. I need to know, how does this work? Why does this work? Why does it do it that way? Why does that happen? Blah, blah, blah. On and on and on we go. So I've done so many courses and workshops and things over the years, and I am here to share some of those learnings with you. Hopefully I don't give you too much of a lecture as we go. So the purpose here in this sharing is to help you stay or become more independent and have a bit more autonomy and control over how you're moving through life, and to stay healthy through the rest of your life. Get set up. Here are some housekeeping before we begin. So we do learn from each other, and ideally you'd have your camera on so you can see what the others are doing, right? Maybe you'll get some tips from what somebody else is doing, but it's also okay if you don't like to have the camera on. There's many reasons why you might not want to have it on, and that's perfectly okay as well. So if you're all right with it, turn it on. If not, keep it as it is. If you enjoy the class, you are more than welcome to request a recording after we finish the class, and to do that, all you need to do is email help@getsetup.io. Now, this class is also live streaming, and that's great. You get to see what's happening and join along with it that way. But the best way to participate is to actually register for the class, and that way, when you're on the call, we can either see you, we can talk to you, you can unmute yourself. I'm quite comfortable with you unmuting yourself and asking a question. You're more than welcome to interrupt me as we go. And also, if you don't want to do that verbally, you can type your questions into the chat box, and I will either see them, or our wonderful technical assistant, Phil, sorry, I've got to remember, it is Phil today, will let me know that there's a question there, or maybe read them out for me. So Phil is also here to help you out if you have any technical issues throughout the session today. So again, all you need to do is type those into the chat box and he'll help you with those. Now, Get Set Up are not paid to promote any specific products, so I will not be selling anything to you while we're here today. And one final word is, if I can move that slide, is to please check in with your doctor before starting any new exercise programs. I am a movement professional. I do not dispense medical advice. So anything that I am suggesting to you is from a movement perspective. So if your doctor or a physical therapist or someone else from the medical profession has given you some advice contrary to maybe something that I'm suggesting, please take their advice. All right. So on that note, I'm going to stop my slides. I'm also today going to be using, let me just show you, a strap. Now, this is a yoga strap. You do not need a yoga strap. All you need is something that you can hold in your hands and you can pull on. So that might be a t-shirt. That could be a belt. It could be a scarf. It could be a pillow, something that you can pull on. Anything that you have at hand. So if you don't have something that you can easily grab now, go grab it and come back. A lot of this class will be done on the floor, right? So if you have a mat that you'd like to use, pop your mat out on the floor. If that is not appropriate for you, I also have a stool here. I will be showing modifications of a lot of the exercises from a seated position. So if you have a chair handy and you would prefer to use that, see if you can use one that doesn't have any arms on it. That will give you a little bit more movement. On that note, I am going to now put myself on a bigger screen so you can see me a little bit more clearly. All right, there we go. And once again, let me reiterate, please feel free to type any questions in the chat box, or you could unmute yourself and ask me questions as I go if something is not clear. Now, I'm actually going to start seated today. Have your strap or whatever it is that you have handy. So if you're on your seat, this is going to look pretty much the same, but you're up higher, your feet are still down on the floor. I'll give everybody a moment to just come on down. And in this position, right, my feet, they're pelvis width apart. They're down on the mat. I'm holding onto my legs with my arms or my hands, and I'm going to pull myself up nice and tall, like I would be sitting up against a wall. And it's the same position if you're sitting on a chair. We want to lift up, right up nice and tall. Maybe you can feel your bony bits underneath your pelvis that you're sitting on. We'll call them the sit bones. And then from there, we're simply going to roll backwards off those sitting bones and create what we call the C curve in our spine. All right, so you want to round your back. Keep your feet down on the floor if you can. Keep that C shape and then come forward. You can use your arms a little bit or a lot and then sit back up nice and tall. All right, we're going to go again. So you're rolling back off your sitting bones until your arms go straight or thereabouts and your feet can stay down. Keep that C shape, come forward, use your arms as much as you need and up nice and tall. Try that a couple more times. I'll just show you what it's like in a chair. And sorry about the colors. I thought I picked a better contrasting color. All right. So we're sitting tall, exactly the same thing. Rounding back, you might hit the back of your chair. That's okay. Come forward and then lift back up nice and tall. Let's try it one or two more times like this. And up nice and tall. So there's going to be a lot of this C curve shape in the class today. Now, you're more than welcome to continue like that. Or here's a time when we grab something that we can hold on to. I'm doubling mine over because it's so long and it will hit me otherwise. So I'm holding on to it shoulder width apart. So my arms are going to reach out in front of me. I'm actually going to try and pull that strap apart and see if I can come upright again through my spine and keep pulling apart. And once again, same action, round and roll back. Now, because my arms aren't going to stop me now, I'm not holding onto my legs, I can go back further. Right? I'm doing as best I can for a C shape. My back is kind of pretty flat. Pull the strap apart, come forward, and then lift back up nice and tall. Right? Again, roll on back. Right? Round back, you're coming to where you can come. It might be a lot of the way. It might just be a little way. Try and pull on the strap and come forward and lift up. You might want to release that pulling a little bit at the top there. Let's try it again. Roll on back. Now, as we go through the movements, I'm going to sort of layer them a little bit. Right? So come forward and lift up tall. And you can stay, right, with the movement the way that we're doing it already. Or if you choose to, you can add a little bit of extra intensity to that. And I'm going to do that next. Right, so far we have two options, one holding onto your legs, one holding onto the strap, another one now. We're going to go back and we're going to hold a position where you feel strong. Right, so I'm rounded back a little bit. Pull on your strap and start to raise your arms. It could be a little way. It might be all the way reaching up towards the ceiling and then lower them back down. I'm going to do two more of those. So I'm staying here. Pull apart, raise your arms on up. Now, I can start to really feel my belly starting to shake, right? As I do that, lower down, you're reaching out in front of you. I'm going to do that one more time, right? This is hard work for me, right? Raise your arms on up, reach them forward again. Now, let's come forward and lift up nice and tall. Oh, you might want to give your shoulders a shake. I'm going to change that a little bit one more time. right? So you could rest, you could just hold on to your legs, you could add on here, up to you. Roll on back, and it's the same if you're seated. Hold tight. Now I'm going to add a twist. I'm going to rotate a little bit one way and come back to center. So I'm twisting my upper body. I'm going to go the other way and come back. Now I'm going to try that 2 more times each way, right? That might be too much. You might need to come up earlier, right? One way and back and the other way, right? My hands are getting sore because I've been pulling tight for a long time. You can pull a lot or hold a lot looser if you prefer. Last one. Come back up again all the way. Oh, now if you're on your mat, we're going to roll all the way down onto our backs, and we're going to let our arms have a breather. We're going to just let them flop down by the side, maybe even give them a little bit of a shake. Now, if you're seated, this next one's going to be a little bit too challenging to do on a seat. So we're going to keep doing the same movement on your chair. If you're down on your back, press down through your feet and your arms, or if you're seated, you might just want to rest out for a minute. We won't be here too long. Pushing into your feet. Tilt your pelvis backwards and start to peel up off the mat. So you're lifting your hips up off the mat. The rest of your spine may follow as you lift up. You're reaching away with your knees, and it might just be a little lift off the floor, and roll yourself back down again. Right, see what you're noticing in your own body. Let's lift up again. I just realized I like to actually start here with breathing. So I'm going to do a few of these, and then I'm going to back it off, and we're going to notice our breath. All right. Roll back down again. And then once again, press down into your feet and round and roll on up. And then roll back down. We'll do that one more time. Right, so what we call here is articulation through the spine. So you're rolling from the other end of your body. Up we come, and then back down again. And then when you're down, just let yourself be heavy on the mat. You're sitting upright in your chair. Maybe you can even resting on the back of your chair. And now we're going to get our hands onto our rib cage. Now I'm just going to stay where you are if you're lying down on the mat. I'm just going to come on up closer to the camera so you can see what we're doing. Your hands come to your ribs somewhere. I'm trying to get them on the side of my body, right in the bottom of my rib cage, and I can feel my ribs here. This is really difficult for some of us, right? Your hands can't come here soon. Maybe you have them down lower or more in the front of your lower chest. Wherever you can take your hands will be perfect. Now, our aim is when we breathe in to allow our hands to expand away from each other. If I come in a lot closer, maybe you can go. See, as I breathe in, my hands move away from each other. As I breathe out, they'll come closer together. Good. As I breathe in, right, my ribs are pushing my hands out to the sides, and as I breathe out, they'll come in closer towards one another. Good. So see if you can find some form of your rib cage expanding out laterally or at a 360-degree way, and then they come back together again when you breathe out. So it's an in-breath, expands, and an out-breath, comes back together. Right. And that's key, right? If all we do is spend this next half an hour or so breathing, that'd be great, trying to get a full breath into your body and then back out again. So there's a thought. If what I'm doing movement-wise gets a bit too challenging, or you just want to rest, come on back to thinking about that expansive breath. Right, a lot of us breathe up here, short and shallow. We want it to be like a fuller, deeper breath. I'll give you time for 2 more of those. And like I said, you are more than welcome to spend, right, as much as you like time. Sorry, I'm just adjusting my pants here, right, on your breathing. Okay. Now, once you've done a number of those, either stay with the breath or pick up your strap again in your hands. If you're seated, it will be directly out in front of you. If you're lying down on your back, you're reaching up towards the ceiling. Now, see if you can make contact with your rib cage on your mat, right? So the backs of your ribs are touching the mat. pull on your strap again, and now simply take your arms up and overhead. I'm going to hit my stool, so I'm going to move that out of the way. Right, it's going overhead. You're going to find the range that you can find with your arms, and then come on back on up to the ceiling. So it might be the smallest little lift, up a bit and then back. It may be that your arms can go all the way overhead and touch the floor and lift on up. Do that a few more times. So if you're sitting, you'll be starting forward and reaching on up towards the ceiling and then lowering back down towards the floor. Right? What we want to try and do is keep the torso relatively stable as you move your arms over and then back. And I'm going to do that 2 more times, reach up and overhead. And just by moving my arms, I can notice, and this is because I'm hyper aware of my body, right, that my belly actually starts to kick in, starts to work before I even start to lift my arms. And I notice that because I've learned that that's what happens, right? Okay, come on back up again, and then keep your arms up there, right? Or you can let the strap go and press your arms down by your side. We're going to try and lift one of our legs up into what we call a tabletop position. So that's my knee at 90 degrees, and then lower it back down again. And then lift my other one up and then lower back down. Now lift on one up and then lower and then the other one, right? So a great option is just your arms down by your side. I'm just sort of adding an extra element with the strap today for those of you who have done this with me a number of times so far in the past few weeks. If you're completely new to this, it might be preferable to have your arms down on the mat. Now, one leg lifts. This is now another layer. You can hold that one there. If you feel okay about it, lift your other one up to meet it. So both of your legs are in this tabletop position. One then comes back down again, and then the other one, right? One up, and then the other one down, and then the other one. Now continue. This, if you're seated on your chair, is going to be a little bit more challenging. So you might want to give the strap a complete miss. We're now just wanting to lift one foot off the floor. So your knees coming up towards your chest and lowering down, and then your other foot and then lower. And if that's too much, just lift your heel up off the mat and lower. And the other one, right? So we can bring any type of different layer into it, right? You could reach out in front of you and you're bringing your knee up towards your strap. Probably 2 at the same time is a little bit too difficult, right? If you're in the chair, you could give it a go. All right, let's do a couple more wherever you are. Last one. And lower and lower. And then release your arms for a moment. Just take your arms out to the side, bring your knees and feet together, and then roll your knees on over to one side. Now, I'm not going to be pedantic about this movement today. We're just going to roll our knees one way and then come on back and the other way. All right, so if you have done this with me before, I kind of hone it in a little bit, but today we're just going to get a bit of movement from side to side, rotating your knees. If you're sitting, you might be able to just sort of swing them around one way and then the other way, or you might want to twist your upper body instead. Some options from that chair position. See how that feels. If you like, you could lift your legs up into this tabletop position again and then take them that way from side to side. You see how my lower body is turning, it's twisting from one way to the other way. Whenever you lift your feet up off the mat, your legs become heavier to the rest of the body. So it makes it a bit more challenging, the movement. I'm going to do this one more time each way. You can even stretch your legs out some more. The longer your legs are, again, the heavier they'll be. And then pop them down. Now, we're going to do some curls, some chest lifts. This is where it's a really nice use of the strap or something that you can hold onto in your hands. We are going to get the strap now. I've got my hands still about shoulder width apart. I'm going to lift my head and slide that strap underneath the back of my head. So I'll just sit up and show you. Right on my back, it's there, right behind the back of my head, and my hands are holding on relatively close towards my ears. And I'm now trying to pull the strap apart again. From here, I now want to keep my lower body still. I'm pulling it apart. Now I'm going to curl my head and shoulders up off the mat. and then I'm going to lower them back down again. So I have a bit of support for my head and neck with the strap underneath my head, right? Curling up and then coming back down. All right, up we go. And then lower back down. Right, so now before we were curling from our lower body, now we're curling from our upper body. Right, so if you're in your chair, you could do it with or without the strap. You're going to curl forward and then back up nice and tall, right, and forward. You could still have the strap behind your head. You might want to push your head back into the strap to lift back up nice and tall. Right, there is your option for seated. It's exactly the same movement, we just at a different orientation. Now you can rest again at any time, or you can add those legs into this upper body movement, which means you can lift one of your legs up to tabletop and then you lower it back down as your head and shoulders come down. Alternate your legs, lift your other one and then lower back down. Lift one and lower. And then the other one. Now, if you're feeling really good about this, you could try lifting both legs at the same time. Now they're getting heavy and then come on down. Totally up to you. Remember, you have options. And back down. And one of those options is to rest. Right, I'm going to go 4 more of these. My legs are getting heavy. And 3. Curling up. And back down. Are you breathing, right? I'm holding my breath a little bit as I come up, but I'm trying to keep my breath as normal as possible. Last one, and then come on down. Oh, let it go. Give your fingers a little bit of a wiggle. Give your arms a bit of a shake on out if you've been really gripping on your strap. That can be hard work. And then have a stretch on out on the mat. Maybe your arms come overhead. Okay, we are going to pick that strap up in our hands again. If it's okay, you could even hold it really lightly if you like. And we're going to do what we call a roll up. So we're going to reach on up, curl your head and shoulders up, and round and roll on up to a seated position. Okay, so if you're sitting on your chair, we've done this, you might want to stretch your legs out a little bit more. Maybe your feet come further away from your chair. But again, hold on to your strap. You can pull it or just be light with it. We're going to round like we did with bent knees before, and we're just going to go a bit of the way. So we're rolling back off our sitting bones again. We're creating that C shape in our spine, and you're going to come back to where you feel strong. Reach forward with your arms and then come back again up to sitting. Maybe sit up nice and tall. Again, curl, roll off your sitting bones, round back. You're just going to where you feel strong and then reach forward and round back up. Now, that's the action. You can stay in somewhere in that kind of range. If you feel confident going or just want to give it a go, round back and come all the way down. Now, here are your arms going overhead, like we practiced this before. Lift your arms up, curl your head and shoulders up, reach your arms forward, keep curling and round up and over your legs. Right, so you can do a very small movement back a bit and forward. You can round back all the way. You decide how you'd like to approach it, if that works for you. Just to let you know, if you're new to this, this took me about 2 years to be able to do that, right, of constant practice. So if you're seated, you can play with where your legs are. It will be more of a rounding forward and then rounding back. You may hit the back of your chair. That's a good place to stop, right? And then rounding forward, or you have your knees bent. It will be more of a roll down and then a roll back up. And you can take your arms up and overhead if that works. Right, just try 2 more no matter where you are. Or rest it out. Where am I going? Over and coming back up again. Last one. Down. And I'm going pretty slowly, right? What a lot of people do is they use their arms a bit of momentum and throw themselves up. If that's where you need to be, perfect. Right, but we're going to end up all the way down if you're on your back on the mat, or sitting upright if you're on your chair. We're now going to use this strap, whatever you have, for a bit of a stretch. Let's take it underneath 1 foot. So it might be a bit awkward. Oh, here is where a pillow won't work. So sorry for that. So if you don't have something that's long enough to hold on to, what you're going to do instead is hold on here somewhere behind your leg. we're going to stretch our leg out. So you're just going to have a little play doing it this way, and that might be more appropriate if you're sitting on your chair as well. Right? But if you are in a position that you have something like your strap, and you can put that underneath the ball of your foot and hold on with two hands, you're going to start to stretch your leg on up and out, and then bend it. Again, reach it on up and out and bend it, and then reach on up again, and you're going to try to get your leg straight. Now, that might mean that that leg has to come way further away from you, right, as in down towards the floor. What I'm trying to do while I'm holding this position is my other leg, this is my right foot in the strap, my other leg, I'm going to try and have my hamstring making contact with the mat. Right, that's going to tilt my pelvis back to what we call more of a neutral position. And that way I just get a different sensation in the back of my right leg, my stretching leg. Right, remember your option will be to hold on behind your leg. You do not have to get your leg straight, especially if you're in this position. That may not be an option. You're doing what you can. Right. So if you're on a chair, just hold it there wherever you are, get a sense of stretch. So if you're seated, it might be possible to sort of hold it here. You might want your foot on the floor and you're pulling back with your toes, and you may even take a bit of a lean forward. Should I show you on the other leg? Is that easier to see? All right, so something more resembling this possibly, or if you don't have that strap, you could hold on here and do the best you can. You've got to grip quite tight. All right, now from here, we're going to just go across the body a little bit. So we're going to go, take the leg a little bit across the body. I'm going to try and keep my hip down. So this, for me, where I'm feeling it now, is like the outside of my knee, right? The aim is to feel it in my hip eventually, but I get a strong knee type of a stretch here. I'm just going to breathe into it. But what a lot of people do is roll out. There's nothing wrong with this. This is a nice stretch. This will be more in my hip, but I'm trying to keep my hip down a bit for a moment. And I'm going to switch over sides. I'm going to go the other way. Right, now, again, if you don't have a strap, you're just holding onto your knee. Your knee can go across your body a little bit. Your knee can come on out to the side. Right, so there's always some option where you can even have your foot on the floor and roll your knee out one way and then the other way. Right. Okay. Let's come on back and let's switch over legs. Right, so, also your other leg can be bent, right? It doesn't have to be straight on the floor. Right. So pop the strap, if you have it, underneath the ball of your foot. Start to reach out through your leg and bend it. We're trying to get it straight. It may never go straight, but we're trying to get the leg straight, because how often is your leg straight? Now let's ask yourself that question. Right, so now I'm trying to pull the ball of my foot in towards me, push my heel away. Your other leg, maybe you stretch it out on the mat and try to get the hamstring down. Maybe it's bent. Right, but in the grand scheme of things, yes, how often would you have your leg fully straight in life? Right? And if you don't have your leg fully straight, have you lost the ability to do so? Because you never do it. So your body says, well, you don't need to do that action, so I'm just going to tighten up on you, for want of a better word. All right, that's another reason we're trying this now. All right, now I think I spent a lot longer on the other leg, but we could spend the whole class just doing this. Right, this could easily take an hour, but I'm going to try and switch both of my straps into my right hand and take my leg across my body. All right, see how I'm trying to keep my hip down? So my leg is not going very far. This is my left leg going over to my right side. And here, my knee will automatically want to bend. So I'm going to keep working at trying to push my heel away to straighten out my leg. If I'm in a live class, I'm constantly walking around suggesting to people that they straighten out their leg more. This kind of thing happens, right? Often. Right? Remember, that is an option, right? Just have your knee bent and move your leg around like that. Let's now change sides, go over the other way. I'm doing this now, so hopefully this is a nice sort of stretching break, because we're going to really get the abs very, very soon in a moment, right? So I work on the core by doing what we call some of the ab series taken from Pilates. We'll be doing that next. All right, I'm going to come on out of there, take that off my foot, and then once again, I'm going to take my strap underneath my head. So if you don't have the strap underneath your head option, your hands underneath your head will be perfect. Pop that under. Remember, my hands are close-ish to my ears, and I'm going to pull the strap apart. Now, once again, I'm going to lift, but I'm going to lift both of my legs up this time. So if you're seated in a chair, right, I'll come up and show you an option in a minute. But if you're here on the mat, curl your head and shoulders up if that's okay. You can always put your head back down again. If you're okay here, reach one leg out and away from you. The other knee comes in towards your body, and then switch your legs over. And then switch again. Now, this is a lot of work. So maybe your head's here. Maybe your legs are reaching more on up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're sliding them out on the floor. Right, that is an option, right? But it's called single leg stretch. One knee comes in, the other leg comes away. Keep going if you're on the mat, if that's available to you. If you're upright here, you can, right? You could also do this, and then you could maybe slide a leg out and pull back in, your other one out and in, or you can be more upright, reach away. You could even lift a leg off the floor and press out and come back. Do two more no matter where you are. Right, if you're seated, you might do a little bit more, because I started showing you that a lot later. And then have a rest. Come on down. Give your fingers a little bit of a wiggle. We're going to do one more, and we're going to up the ante by doing both of the legs together. So again, option, you could stay with the one-legged version. You could keep your head down, or lift both of your legs, curl your head and shoulders up, and now both of your legs reach out and away. And then they come on back in again. They reach out. So you're pulling out on the strap with your hands, and your head is being supported, right, by that strap, right? If that's too much, put your head down, reach your legs out. You're going to try and get them straight, but they may not go straight. Reach away, come back in. Can we do three more? If you're on your chair, I think you probably stay with the one-legged version, right? And two, and back. You could be really tricky and do both legs, come back in, and then rest. All right, maybe move your legs a bit from side to side. Take the strap out from underneath your head. Give your fingers a little wiggle. And now we're going to use the strap as a tool to reach towards. So you don't have to grip it all. You're just going to reach your arms on up towards the ceiling. The strap can just be resting in sort of, what's that bit called, underneath your thumb and your index finger. So you're reaching your arms on up. Now, we're going to see if you can lift both of your legs on up. Now, they can be bent, they can be straight, they can be anywhere here. And now our aim is to see how we can move our leg, one leg towards the strap and then away. Right? Other leg. So you're pulling it in towards your strap. Now, I have a lot of people that do these classes with me that hate this exercise, right? This can be super intense, right? On your hamstrings. We were stretching them before. This is a bit more strengthening type of work. So you're going to do the best you can. You might have your knees really bent, right? Pulling one in. This one, again, if you're seated, it's going to be a bit harder, but you can give it a go. Just do what you can, right? You're reaching out. Maybe you can lift your leg up towards the strap and back down again. Give it a try. Maybe you're just reaching your arms out and pulling them back in again. That could be more than enough work. Right. Have a rest. Have a rest. Have a rest. I'm going to try that with two legs. Right. So same thing. If you're seated, stick with the one leg. Reach your legs on up. Again, I'm kind of straightening-ish my legs. You might be fully bent. I'm going to try and pull both of my legs towards my strap. Now, this time, my bottom's going to curl up off the mat, right, and then come back down again. Now, this, for some people, is incredibly difficult, right, to get that curl which is what we were doing when we were sitting. We were rolling backwards, but now we're asking the body to do it from the other direction. Your legs come towards the strap. They don't have to go anywhere near it. Like I said, they can be fully bent. That's up to you. For those of you who are feeling really supple, maybe, you could take your feet underneath your strap and then back out again. Right? They could go through. Can't see that. Oh, I don't really want to show you my butt. Right? But under and then back again and then under and then back again. Yeah. And then have another rest. Right? Give your fingers a little bit of a wiggle. Now, that could be quite intense. We're going to have a bit of a stretch on out. Reach out nice and long with your body. And then we're going to roll on over any way you can onto your belly. Okay, and we want to do a little bit of back bending work here. So if you're seated, stay seated, and we're just going to go backwards from a seated position. But if you're on your belly, your elbows come out wide to the side. You want to look down to the mat and just take your time to get there. It doesn't matter how long it takes you to get here. You can just continue when you're ready. Your feet press down, your pubic bones pressing down into the mat. We want to see if we can maybe levitate up from underneath our rib cage and then lift on up into a back bend. You can press down into your hands. You might come up quite a way. You might just be able to just lift up off the floor. That's fine. Come on back down again, wherever you can. Let's do it again. Lift on up. Come on up. You decide how far you come on up and come back down again. Have a little play with that, right? What works for you. So if you're seated, right, we were doing these forward bends. It's now from here. A back bend, you'll be looking on up towards the ceiling and then rising back up tall. Right, a couple more of these. Take the bend and then come on back. Now, for both, whether you're on the floor or seated, once you're back down again, you determine, now this all depends on how your shoulders are feeling, whether it's okay to grab your strap and have your arms overhead. This is going to make this so much harder to lift up off the mat, but you might choose to give it a go. You might choose to stay here or totally rest. So my arms are overhead. I'm going to pull on my strap and I'm going to lift my arms. I'm going to try to lift back up again. Oh, and then come on back down. Let's do it again, right? Lifting on up and come back down again. Right, notice I can't talk to you. Right? I'm really holding my breath. I'm trying not to. Lift back up again. I'm sort of talk to you in a strained way and then all the way down. I'm going to do one more. I'm going to try and lift my legs up at the same time. So here we go. Everything's going to lift up off the mat. Reaching out nice and long, and then lower back down again. Let go of your strap. Bring your hands back. Push back into what we call a child's pose. You might be able to sit your bottom right down on your feet. You might be more up here somewhere. But for some of us, this is a great stretchy, releasing kind of pose. And for others, this is awful. Right? So can you find a position that's okay for you? If you're sitting on your chair, take a lean forward. Maybe bring your head down towards your knees. Reaching. And then come on up onto your hands and knees. All right, from here, we'll just do some what we call cat and cow poses. Now, if this is too much pressure on your hands and on your fingers, you can make fists. You could hold on to like a towel or something. You could come on down onto your forearms. But if you're sitting on a chair, put your hands on your knees. We're going to round our spine up towards the ceiling, or round back if you're sitting upright, and then round down or round forward if you're sitting the other way. Right, we're rounding up. So now we're looking at some more movement through our spine. If you're interested in spinal movement, I've got a whole class doing this type of thing tomorrow, a couple of hours earlier than this one. All right, upwards, round up and round down. I'm just going to do two more of these. Go one way, the other way. Last one, right? So those of you that do yoga, right, we do a lot of these in yoga classes. And then we want to find a tabletop position where we're not rounded up or down. My t-shirt's hanging here, but I'm sort of like get the back nice and long. From here, we're going to slide one leg out behind us, and if it's okay, the opposite arm is reaching forward. You can stay there, or you may choose to lift both of your limbs, reaching up towards the ceiling. Notice I'm trying not to bend my back here. Touch back down again, and then come on back. Let's switch. Opposite arm and leg, slide away from each other. They may lift up off the mat if that's appropriate. Come back down again, and then back in. Again, right? So I'm changing sides. Reach. You could lift, lower back down again, and come on in. Now keep going. Right? If you're seated, it's more like, right, I'm upright. You could be leaning on the back. Where are we? Here. One arm's going to reach up, one leg's going to slide away, and come on back. Other side. Reach. You could also lift your foot up off the mat, and then come on back. All right. Some options, similar, a little bit different, but they're doable, hopefully. Okay, where are we? All right, maybe one more each side. And the last one, lift, and oh, that was quick. Just drop that down. Now from here, we're going to come on back, or not back, we haven't been there yet, onto our forearms. And we're going to see if we can attempt a forearm plank. Now, what do a lot of people think when they're doing core stuff? They're thinking planking. So we're going to give it a go. Your forearms are pressing down into the mat. One leg's going to reach out behind you. I'm going to press down through that leg. Maybe you can reach the other one out behind you as well. Now, here's a great option. Pop your knees down. Even pop your hips down onto the mat. Any one of these options. Can you find it? Can you maybe hold it? Just keep breathing. Think, reach out through the top of your head. Reach back through your heels. Watch that you're not sort of sinking down through your ribs. You want to go nice and broad through your shoulder blades. That's enough. I'm going to come back into that child's pose. Right. We're going to repeat it. And often we start on the floor and we lift on up. I'm going the opposite way around today. So I'm kind of starting in the hard position and maybe backing on off. And just for a little bit of variety and to see what that feels like in your body. Now, apologies for if you're in the chair. That's going to be too hard. The version would be to be up against a wall and you can lean into a wall instead. I can't work out how to do that on the chair unless you're up. All right. But forearms back down again on the mat. Actually, I'll get up and show you in a moment. Right, one leg goes out again, then your other leg out. Give that a try. Right, if it's not good, knees down, even hips down. Hold for a minute. Right, so if you are on your chair and you wanted to try with it, you get your hands on the wall instead and think like you're going to do a bit of a push-up. Lean into the wall. You might even get your forearms. This is not a wall, this is cubes. That is a way that you could try it. That's actually a really nice way of giving it a go. Oh, rest, come on out of here. You've been holding that for quite a while. I like to do things in three, so we're going to do it one more time. If it works for you, let's come on. Let's go straight into it. All right, lift on up and hold, hold, hold. I should actually look at the clock. I'm aiming for 30 seconds. So I'm now going to watch the second hand tip on over. Please rest anytime. But this is really hard work. For a lot of us, some of you might be going, oh, that's so easy. I do this every day. Great. If you do, add some movement into it. Maybe you have a little wiggle. You could try lifting a foot up off the mat or the other one. Right? I've got 5 seconds to go. The trick is remembering when I started watching the clock. Okay, come on out of there. Go back into a child's pose of your option. And then let's just come into a seated position. Sitting, sitting, sitting. Any way that you like. Now, you could sit on a chair if you were down on the floor. I can comfortably sit in a cross-legged position on the mat. That's me, right? Because I've been doing this for years, right? You could be sitting on a block or a pillow or something, pop it underneath your sitting bones and sit on that. Sit in a way that feels good for you. And then from there, we're going to just do a simple side bend by putting one hand down on the mat. Your other arm's going to reach on up towards the ceiling. Just reach up, let your shoulder blade lift right on up, and then do a bend to the side. right? If you're on a chair, same thing, pop one hand on your chair and just bend to the side. Reach out through your arms. Maybe you get a sense of breathing into this side of the rib cage, right? There's more on one side than the other. Let's come on up. Let's switch over sides. Reach right on up and then bend the other way. I try and get one of these bends into a lot of the classes because how often do we ever spend, right, in this sideways kind of a bend position where we feel like we're getting this nice sense of stretch into the side of the body. Come on back up again. I'm now going to do a simple twist, right? Your legs could be anyway, right? I didn't say that. They can be like this, they can be like this, they can be any way that works for you. I'm going to bring one hand behind me. That's my left hand for me. My right arm's going to come across to the outside of my leg. And I'm going to use my arms to twist my body. So I'm turning to my left. Doesn't matter which way you're going. We're going to go both ways. And the same thing applies with twisting, right? Side bending, twisting. Right? They're movements that help us with our daily activities. But how often do we spend any time kind of cultivating them, making sure that we can keep doing them? I'm going to switch sides, go the other way. Twisting, twisting, twisting. It's really important to be able to keep, right? Not just the outside of the body, but the inside of your body, right? We're moving or squishing, right? The organs, our organs and things when we do this. These are so not technical words, right? I'm trying to have a general way of talking about the things that we're doing. All right, come on back. Now come into your version of a forward bend. So however you can, right? Take a bend forward. And just notice what's going on in your body when you do that. How does it feel? Where do you feel it? So my example here, I'm in a cross-legged position. I'm feeling it a bit in my hips. I can let my head hang so the back of my neck can get a bit of a stretch from the weight of my head. I'm going to come on up and change the crossing of my legs so my other leg comes in front. If your legs were not crossed, maybe you can move them just into some other position so they're a little bit different. It doesn't have to be a huge difference. And I'm going to come forward again. Again, I'm going to try and let my head hang so the back of my neck can get a bit of a stretch on out here. And then I'm going to come on up and I'm going to undo my legs and I'm going to have my feet wider apart. This is a big favorite in my hips class. Oh, for me, I don't know how it is for everyone that comes to it. My hands are behind and I'm going to roll my knees to one side and then back and over to the other side. Now, my knees can actually make contact with the floor. Yours might not want to go anywhere near the floor. That's perfect. It's this movement. So now it's a rotational movement of your thigh bones in your hip socket. If this is relatively easy for you, you may choose to take your hands off the floor and do the movement with your legs and hips without using your arms. There's more work involved in your body to get there. Right. If this is easy for you, this could be like a huge amount of work for you. If you're seated, it's the same movement. Can you maybe move your legs from side to side? I'm going to do a couple more of these. And then either, what would be a really nice thing to do right now would just be to lie down on the floor and let everything go for a few minutes. That's a really great option, particularly if it is evening for you and you're getting yourself ready into a state where you're ready to go to bed soon, or maybe even if you're going to bed in a couple of hours, right? Let everything go. It's like doing the Shavasana in a yoga class, if you're aware of that. But I am now going to make myself available for questions. I'm just trying to get my mouse working again. It likes to switch itself off. I'm going to pop myself on a gallery view. Here we go. All right. So Thanks for joining me. I've still kept a few of you online. Do any of you have any questions? Anything that you'd like to ask me, or anything you'd like to share with me or the rest of the group here? Is there anything that stands out to you? You can either unmute yourself if you like, or you can type that into the chat box. Nope, no, we're all good. I'll give you a moment. Okay, I've been talking to myself for a while. That's okay. I'm getting good at that too. Yeah, excellent. All right. Well, what I'll do, you might think of it while I am sharing my slides. Oh, hang on. I've got something here. Let me have a look. Thank you very much. Realize my light back. I can feel I'm back now. Okay, terrific. Thank you so much, Tui. Thank you for that. And Sue, thank you for that as well. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to share my slides, and maybe you think of something while I'm doing this. So a little bit more housekeeping for those of you who haven't seen me do this 100 times already. All right, so, but thank you so much. Thank you for joining the class today. I hope you got something out of that, something beneficial out of that class. If you are on social media, we'd love it if you share your experiences of your classes here and Get Set Up. All you need to do for that is to add the hashtag or the @ symbol and the words Get Set Up into your social media posts. Or if you'd like to share any stories, some good stories that have come about from doing classes with us, please email liz@getsetup.io with those stories, and Liz blogs about our experiences here in the Get Set Up community. Now, I've already mentioned I have another class tomorrow. It will be 2 hours earlier than this class, and it is a supple spine class. So it's just about moving our spine all the different directions. So that'll be the focus of the class tomorrow. And then next week, I do it all again. So I've got 7 classes on the schedule. If you're interested in doing another class with me, just pop Natalie W into the search function. There are also loads and loads and loads of other fitness classes on Get Set Up. I'm sure you'll find something to suit you. So have a look through your current schedule. Yeah, it's brilliant, all the different types of movement that are available to us all. I will be sending you a brief email after this class is finished with a couple of suggestions of things that I think you might like to try. All right, so with that note, you will be getting a class note from me. Again, as soon as I've finished off here, I will be getting that to you with those ideas. Also, you'll be prompted to recommend this class to a friend with some links to Facebook and email. I think there's also a WhatsApp group there now as well. And then, yes, when you're registering for class, you are also asked to invite a friend. You can see here, that's how it looks on your desktop and also on a mobile device. There's a little button there that all you need to do is click, and we will send you a link. It'll come up automatically to share the class with a friend. It's more fun to do it with a friend. Yesterday, I actually had a couple of sisters over in the UK doing this class together. Actually, I think one might have been in a different country. So they get to talk about that afterwards, about their experiences. It's really nice to have something out to share with someone close to you. Finally, our community is growing, and it would be great if it could grow some more. So share your experiences with other people. Share with any organisation that you might be a member of that we're out here and we're available. Right? We want as many people as possible to have the benefit of the classes that we have available for them. You also might have some class ideas. So if there's something that you want to learn that is not available so far, let us know. Drop us a line, right? Suggest that new class idea, and we'll do our best to get that to you. You might also want to host an interest group. If you've got something that you're passionate about, you might want to be on this side of the camera and share that with our community. And finally, one more time, you can request a recording of this session if that is something that you'd like to do. For all of those things, all you need to do, one email address, help@getsetup.io, and somebody will be with you as soon as possible to help you out with anything that you might need help with. So one final thing here, I have a question for the recording of the session. Oh no, that's Phil that's put the email address up there in the chat box too. So for anything that you might need, yeah, please go there to that email address. Has anyone thought of anything they might like to ask me in the meantime while I've been doing the final housekeeping? No, that's great. I'm one of those people. I'm always here. I'm on with my teachers, and then the minute we finish or I'm on my way home, I have 10,000 questions. So the same. I'll be back again next week. So if you think about something in the meantime, yeah, you can bring it up then, even if it doesn't pertain to that class. It was just back from this one. I'd be happy to help you out with that. So thank you, whoever was on the Apple iPad. Thanks again, Marty. Thank you for joining us. Jodie again, Laverne, Richard, who's still here, Jeanette, Patty, Doris. Get some sleep. All right. Annie, RG, and Denise, thank you so much. I'm going to sign off now, and I hope to see you all again soon. So have a wonderful evening.
Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Good night.
Thanks so much. Thanks, Marty.
Good night,
Bye.
everyone.